So good morning everyone. We will solve the problem on Bohol Pension House. So first thing to do is make the headings of your worksheet. So this is worksheet, then the date or the year ended January 31, 20C. So let us copy the headings or the account titles, I mean. So cash in bank, petty cash fund, accounts receivable, estimated uncollectible accounts, prepaid insurance, prepaid interest, bank loan, rating supplies, building, accumulated depreciation, furniture and fixtures, then accumulated depreciation for furniture and fixtures, linens and towels, notes payable, bank loan, Tita Baranza Capital, Tita Baranza Brewing, hotel income, taxes and licenses, telephone and postage, laundry expenses, audit and legal fees, salaries and wages, and finally utilities expense. And simply copy the amount. Let's move this, make it easier. So debit 180, 60,000, credit 1,000, 12/8, 20,000, 58, 1950, credit 100,000, 1575, 117,500, 600,000, 785,000, 3,418,500, 18,000, 144,400, 12,880, 12,120, 15,000, 12,6, 25,000, 13,5. Then get the totals. Okay. So we will refer to our adjustments. So for this part, this is now the time that we will look at our solution, the entries that we have made for our adjusting journal entries. Okay, so let's start with the adjusting entries for the problem of Bohol Pension House. So for the first problem, we have here the provision for uncollectible accounts should be at 5% of the outstanding receivable account. So for letter A, so that is for the uncollectible account. So always use the outstanding receivable account. So that is the accounts receivable. So accounts receivable in the problem is 1,500. Ano? This is not nagtupong ni ay. So that is, the amount is 1, 2, 3. That is 60,000. Times the provision is 5%. So how much is the 5% of 60,000? So the provision for uncollectible accounts is 3,000. So do not forget the peso sign. So how to make the entry? So that is, let us look at the trial balance again. So we have estimated uncollectible accounts. So the proper entry should be, this is letter A, uncollectible accounts that is the expense portion and credit estimated uncollectible accounts. So let's move it here. So are you sure that that is the final answer? Not yet. Take note that that is yet the provision. So meaning that is the amount to be recorded. But okay, there is a big but. So try to look at the trial balance if there is an existing amount. So do you have already an existing amount? Yes, that is per records you have 1,000. So there should be an increase of the provision. So uncollectible or estimated uncollectible account. So we could just simply write estimated uncollectible accounts. So the difference is 2,000, meaning, so what is the meaning of that? Meaning, based on our records, we have 1,000. We just have to add 2,000. So let's try to make the ledger estimated uncollectible accounts. We have here 1,000, and our goal is 3,000, so we have to add 2,000. So this is An addition of 2,000. This is adjusting entries. So number 2, let's go back to the problem. Unpaid salaries and wages. So what is this? Accrued expense. So salaries and wages, you have not yet recorded unpaid man. So that is your accrued salaries payable or accrued expense. So unrecorded expense. So you have to record an expense, then record a liability. So based on our problem, that is, there's no need for solution. Why? Because it just stated that there is an uncollected portion. So that is salaries and wages and accrued salaries payable. So how much is the accrued or unpaid portion? That is 8,000. Next, the third problem. Building is depreciated at 10%, while furniture and fixtures are depreciated by 20%. So let's try to make the depreciation. So this is letter C. So what is the formula in computing depreciation? So let's try to recall the formula. So that is depreciation expense is computed cost minus salvage value or scrap value divided by lifespan or the life of the asset. This is the usual formula. But, why there is a big but? Depends on the presentation of the problem. So, if just like in our problem, write or ha, you might be confused. Or, cost times percent of depreciation. Depende sa provision. So in this case, we have building. We will use the second method. So building, the cost is, how much was the cost? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1,950 times 10%. So depreciation expense for the building is equal to 195,000. That is for the building. While for the, what's the other one? Furniture and fixtures is 20%. So furniture and fixtures. So the cost is how much? How much is the cost for the furniture and fixtures? 1,575. So 1,575,000 times the provision is 20%. So how much is the 20% of 1,575? 315,000. So that is the depreciation expense for the furniture and fixtures. So how to make the entry? So you could make a compound entry or a separate journal entry. So ari lang na ko ibutang so that it will be magtupong. So again, that is in the journal. So letter C for the first one. So that is depreciation expense how much is the depreciation expense? That is 195,000. Then the credit is accumulated depreciation building 195,000. So that's for the first one. For the second one, depreciation expense how much was it? Was it 315? 315,000. Then accumulated depreciation furniture and fixtures. Or if you want to make this a compound entry, so if you could recall what is a compound entry, so you could have more than one in the debit or more than one in the credit or both. So if we will make the compound entry here, so depreciation expense, so you simply total the two. So 315 plus 195, that is 510. Well, credit is accumulated depreciation. The first one is building 195,000, while the second one is furniture and fixtures. Am I correct? Is it furniture and fixtures? Yes, it's furniture and fixtures. That was 315,000. So you could present it this way if you're already an expert. Or it would be better for accounting 1 to present it separately. Next is letter D. Interest on bank loan. So meaning you have a bank loan but you have not yet recorded the interest. So that is accrued interest expense. That is a liability. So no need to present a solution. Why? Because the amount is given and there's no way of computing. So the tax rate is not given. So simply you will record an expense, interest expense, that is a total of 5,000. Credit accrued interest payable. This is a liability, 5,000. Meaning you have not recorded this expense. So next, supplies. So what letter is it? Letter E. So it talks about supplies actually on hand. So what method was used in the problem? So asset. It's operating supplies. So it talks about operating supplies. So based on the problem, operating supplies is how much? 58,000. So this is 58,000. So let's try to get the asset portion and the expense portion. So it is stated in the additional information that supplies actually on hand, which means is it the asset or the expense? So this is the asset portion. That is 5,500. So how much was used for the period? 58,000 minus 5,500. So the expense portion is 52,500. So per record, you have 58,000. The expired portion is 52. Oh no. The given in the problem is the remaining, no? So if it's the remaining, so the to be recorded is 5,500, meaning the rest is the expense or expired portion. That is 52,500. So you have already recorded 58,000. You must record the expense. So kani, let's make the ledger. This is the operating supplies. So at first, you had the amount of 58,000, but what should prevail is, meaning what is left should be 5,500. So how to make it 5,500? You have to subtract 52,500. So what is this? This is the expense portion. So this is the supplies expense. So how to make the entry? So we have to record the expense, 52,500. So letter E, supplies expense, 52,500, while your credit is operating supplies. You have to deduct because it was overstated, 52,500. Okay, number sign. Letter E, so we still have 2. So 800 of the insurance premium paid in advance has expired. So our insurance, prepaid insurance, was a total of 12,800, 800 of which has expired. So what letter is this? F. So prepaid insurance, 12,800. So meaning we have the asset portion and the expense portion. 800 has expired now. So how much is left as a prepaid portion or as an asset? So we have 12,000. So per record, we have 12,800 expired portion. The expired portion is 800. So to be recorded, or the final amount of the asset is 12,000. So what needs to be recorded is the expense. Okay, we have not yet recorded the expense part. So 800. So what is the proper account title? Wala sa trial balance. So insurance expense. Expense portion is how much? 800. Then you subtract it from your prepaid insurance. So that would be 800. And last adjusting entry, cash payment by a customer covered by invoice 0085 dated January 31, 20C. The amount of 38 was not recorded. Oh, wala. That is an accrued income. So what is an accrued income? Try to recall what is accrued income. So accrued income by the statement itself, it was earned but not yet collected. So naka-render naman kag service. So you have earned it but you have not yet collected it. So accrued income is what? It's an asset. So how do you record that one? So accrued receivable, so why is it an accrued receivable? Again, that is an accrued income. Accrued hotel income receivable, or simply you could use accrued receivable or accrued hotel income na lang kaya for it to be easier for you. Wala man gud tay chart of accounts. Accrued hotel income, total of 3,800. Credit hotel income. Again, it's already our income. What we haven't collected it yet lang. So accrued hotel income or accrued hotel income receivable, it's too long. Or pwede accrued receivable. So that is 3,800. So these are your adjusting entries. So what is the date for this one? So what is given in the problem? January 31, 20C. So another fiscal period. So let's write it here. 20C, January 31. So that is all for our adjusting entries. So first one is uncollectible accounts. So we don't have an existing. So there is a debit. This is letter A, 2,000. Then estimated uncollectible accounts. Letter A, 2,000. Salaries and wages. Letter B. So you're simply transferring what you have written in your journal. Then depreciation expense. This is letter C, 195,000. Then accumulated depreciation, C, 195,000. Then another depreciation expense, so you just write it below, that's the letter C, 315. Then here, letter C, 315,000. Interest expense, that is letter D, 5,000. Accrued interest payable, supplies expense, E. So excuse class ha, I'm recording this at 3 a.m. Excuse if I'm yawning. The supplies expense, 52,500. Operating supplies, 52,500. Insurance expense, there is we don't have insurance. $800. Prepaid insurance, 800. Accrued hotel income, 3,800. And hotel income, so actually class, I think we have a corrections in our adjusting journal entry. So let me make the necessary corrections lang here ha. We have the prepaid interest bank loan. So instead of having the accrued interest payable, so again, this will be the corrections. So our debit would be, so we need to record the interest expense of 800, is it 800? 5,000. 5,000, then credit, instead of accrued interest payable, this will be prepaid interest, itong nakabank loan. So I haven't noticed the word nakabank loan na parentheses. But supposedly, wala na siya, that is accrued interest payable. So again, this will be the corrections for the adjusting entry. So what letter is this? Letter D. So we have letter D here, 5,000. So I think we are done. Naka-credit na ba ta sa tuang hotel income? Let me see. Okay. So let's try to see whether this is balanced or not. Oh, sorry. Oh, so it's balanced. This is totals. Next would be, we have to identify whether that is income statement or balance sheet. So same procedure, identify which is the asset, liability, equity, income, or expense, then transfer. So we already know that this part is the balance sheet. So cash, naka-debit, petty cash fund, debit, accounts receivable, naka-debit. So let's try to look at this one. So again, I will highlight it so that you will not be confused. So it's both in the credit side. So add this one, opposite side. So debit 12,800, credit 800. So the remaining is in the debit side, 12,000. And this one, debit 20, credit 5,000. So we have a debit of 15. How about this one? 58,000 minus 52,500, that is 55. Labaw si debit, so write it on the debit. Building, so simply copy. So this one, we have adjustments. So it's both on the credit side, so we will add, that is 295. Furniture and fixtures, simply copy. Then the accumulated depreciation, both same side, so we will add. So how much is that? 117,500 plus 315. 432,500, both in the credit side. Linens and towels, 600,000, so that is considered as non-current. It is used for more than 1 year. Notes payable, so this is a liability, so that is 785,000. We have the capital, 341,800. Drawing, 18,000. Then we are already here in the income. So we have an adjustment, so we have to add 144,400 plus 38, that is 148. It's in the credit side, 148,200. Then these are expenses, so simply copy, there are no adjustments. How about your salaries and wages? So we have a debit amount and another debit amount. So 25 plus 8 is that 33. Let's try to add. Yes, it's 33,000. Then 13.5, simply copy. So here, this is what I've said in the previous example wherein this is where you need to analyze kaya it's not anymore nagsunod. So here, uncollectible accounts is an expense account, naka-debit. But accrued salaries payable is a liability account. So let's try to see. Liability, it should be in the credit side of the balance sheet. So that is 8,000. Depreciation expense, this is in the income statement, debit side. So we have two depreciation expense. Interest expense is an expense. Supplies expense. Insurance expense. Accrued hotel income, this is an asset. So if it's an asset, it's in the debit. So it's here. 3,800. So it's now the time to get the total. So again, this is not yet balanced because it will show the performance of the business. Let's try to see the difference between the two. Oh, so it's the same. So let's try to see whether it is net income or net loss, which is higher, debit or credit. So it's debit. So what are the components of debit? It's expense. So if expense is higher, so this is a loss. Or you could write net loss. So if it's a net loss, what is the effect in the capital? It will decrease the capital. So normal balance of capital is credit. For it to be decreased, you'll write it on the debit side. For how much? That is 521,200. So since it was debited in the balance sheet, you will credit it in the income statement. Then let's try to see if this will now be balanced. Okay. So sum. So are they balanced? Again, do not forget the label. So they are balanced. So it's now the time to make the financial statements. So we'll write the name of the business. We have here the name. It's Bohol Pension House. Income statement for the year ended January 31, 20C. So we have revenues, or if there is only one, revenue. So look at here, the income statement. Our revenue is hotel income. 148, 200, am I correct? Yes. So less expenses. So simply copy the expenses. 1 else. So this accrued salaries payable is not an expense. Then you will just get the total of the depreciation expense. So taxes and licenses, how much? So we'll simply copy this one. Then how much is the uncollectible accounts? 2,000. How much is the total of the depreciation? That is 195 and 315 is 510. We have the interest expense, this one. We could simply copy it. So this is the total expenses. And this is net loss. So still the same formula. Income minus expense. That is our net loss. So in accounting class, you do not use the negative sign. So supposedly it is parentheses 521 200. 521 200. It will not, based on my software, it will not write it in using negative sign. So supposedly there is a format for that. I forgot lang. Let's try to see if it's saved here. So let me search. I have saved it in my computer. Alright, that's how. Yeah, this is the code. Okay, here. So it should be presented that way. So next would be the statement of changes in owner's equity. So we start with the name of the capital. Who is this? So that's Sir Tabaransa. The Tabaransa capital beginning. Beginning. Double N. Bukas? Or one N. I'm sleepy na gid class. So spelling. Nag spelling of beginning. I think, yeah, it's double N. Beginning. So how much was it? 3418500. 3418500. Add. So is there something to add? We don't have net income. We don't have additional investment. So it's just less. So less. Let's start with net loss. Since we have two items to deduct, so this is what I told you. You will make another column. Then drawing. So how much is drawing? 18,000. So you will get the total. Then it is subtraction. So this is the total capital. So the Tabaransa capital ending. So next would be the balance sheet. So balance sheet. This will be as off. Then we'll start with assets. So you must identify which are the current. So this is the tricky part. Why? Because when you would look at the worksheet, you also look at the lower part. So current assets are this one plus. We also have one. This is the other one. Accrued hotel income. Mhm. Oops. This one would be here. Why? Because it's a contra account. Do not forget the peso sign. Then the accrued hotel income is how much? 3.8. And total current assets. Let's try to see. Next is non-current assets. So as you can see, we have two non-current assets with their accumulated. No, we have three, but only two has depreciation expense. So this is how you present it. Let me see. So 1950, 1950, then we have 295. We also have 1575 and 432,500. Take note, this is the related account and that is the related account. So, let's assign for each group. The answer to the first group is here. So, it's deduction. So, there should be a word here less. So, please, ayaw isok-sok ha. Also here, I forgot to tell you, there must also be the word less here. That is the purpose of making another column for the computation. We have here a peso sign because when you would add it, there is one line there. Then how much is the linens and towels? It's 600,000. So this will be total non-current assets. Then we add them all. Line. And also this one has a line because we will add that for us to get the total assets. This will be your total assets. Next is liabilities. Do we have more than one? No, there's only one, so it's still liability. So again, it depends on how many. So proper grammar. So notes payable for the interest. So if that is loan, that is non-current liability. Because interest in the bank loan is more than 1 year. So mga bank loan. I mean not interest, notes payable. Notes payable. But I do believe that we have another liability. It's found below. Itong accrued here. That is a current asset. If I'm asset liability, if I'm not mistaken. So, sakto di ay. This is liabilities. Oops. Liabilities. So this is current salaries payable. So usually you will write here total non-current and total current and total non-current, since we have one for each. So we could just have total liabilities. And so how much is the accrued salaries payable? 8,000. Well, the other one, 785. So 8,000. 785. Then we'll simply add them. This is our total liability. Then line. And lastly, owner's equity. So we have here the Tabaranza capital. It must be total 2,879,300. 2,879,300. Open. Finish up. Where is it? Oh, I'm lost. Just when we are about to be done. Okay, here. Okay. So hopefully this will be balanced. Let's try to see. This one and this one. Isa na to, isa pa. Let's try to check. It's the fulfillment, the feeling of fulfillment when they are balanced. Hopefully. 3672, 300. Okay, very good. So we are done with this problem. 8-column worksheet and the financial statements. So that is all for this problem. So thank you and have a good day.